Hey everybody, welcome back to Live Life Simple. Today we are reviewing the FLIR ONE Pro thermal imaging camera. And the FLIR ONE Pro is quickly becoming my new favorite freeze drying gadget, and we're gonna unbox it today. I'm gonna show you what all comes in the box. I'm gonna show you all the things that I love about this thing. I'm also gonna show you how easy this is to use. I'm gonna show you all the benefits. I'm gonna show you where to get it coming up. So if you're new to the channel and you're not a freeze dryer, you're probably wondering why we're in a kitchen right now reviewing a thermal imaging camera. We primarily do freeze drying on this channel, and this tool is going to be extremely helpful if you're a freeze dryer, or if you're not a freeze dryer, this can be extremely helpful as well. Thermal imaging can show you hot spots and cold spots in anything that you focus in on, and the reason I really like this particular model is that it attaches to your phone. You can absolutely get a better quality one than this. You can absolutely get a model that's just a separate camera and has all of the things that this has in its own compact version. But that's also why this one is so much less. It's about $250 right now. The ones that are their own separate unit can run all the way up to in the thousands of dollars. Why not just use something that you're already carrying in your pocket all the time? You use the screen, you use the computer that's already in your phone, and really this is super compact, and all it does is just plug into your USB port of your phone. This can also be used on Apple products and Samsung products. There is a small price difference between which one you select, which phone you're using, and all you need to do is just go to the Google Play Store or the iTunes Store and download the app that is for this. It's free, and as soon as you do that, you are ready to use your thermal imaging camera. And I actually have a load of freeze-dried food finishing up right now. We're gonna put this thing to work later in the video and show you how this thing works. All right, so let's get this thing unboxed. And one thing that I really like about FLIR as opposed to some of the other brands is this is a well-known company. They've been around for a long time. They're known for their thermal imaging. There are cheaper versions of thermal imaging out there, but this one to me is most bang for the buck and also quality. So I'm doing the Android version today. This little tag right here will say which version you have, so you probably want to make sure that you have the right version. That's basically the difference is going to be your port. And I am not an Apple guy, but I'm pretty sure Apple uses their own proprietary port. This one is just a USB-C. If you have an older Samsung phone or a different type of phone, you can also get different USB versions. So you're not just limited to Samsung and Apple. There are different versions of this. Just make sure that you get the right one. It's always going to be based off of that port. So first off, let's just take a look at the unit itself. It's very compact. It's very lightweight. There's really not a whole lot to it. You have your port. There's some camera lenses on there. This also has an onboard battery pack. So it uses its own battery instead of using your phone's battery, which is kind of cool. The other thing which will come in handy later, and I'll show you, is that this port can be adjusted up and down. And that way, if you have a case on your phone like I do, you can actually adjust that port so it will fit over the case, or you can pull it in or out, however it snugs up best to fit into your phone. The quality of this is very apparent right off the bat. It's very good quality. You can tell that it's good quality just by handling it. It has rubberized corners on all of it, so it gives you a little bit of extra protection. A lot of people that use this kind of stuff, home inspectors, people that build things, on the job site type of people. So you want something like this to be relatively rugged. Okay, what else is in the box? There is an instruction manual, getting started, and then just a couple of other things about FLIR and the company. And then underneath you have a very cool feature, just a little carrying case. That to me is pretty awesome. That means you don't have to buy it. This fits in here really nice. That way if you're throwing it in the car, throwing it in your pocket, whatever, it's not getting dusty, dirty, beat up, whatever. There's also a basic charging cord. This is a USB-C port, so you can actually charge it with any USB-C. I'm not sure which the Apple version uses. I'm sure it's just an Apple type port. So that is everything that's in the box. Let's get the setup going. I'll show you how to install the app. I'll show you how to run through the app and just the initial setup. It's very simple. And then we will use the actual camera and put it to work. So in the app store that you use, search for FLIR ONE. Once you're there, just click install. Then you're gonna go to open. It's gonna take you through just a short tutorial that kind of shows you some of the benefits of the camera. Then it will take you to the allow screen. It just wants to use your camera, which is another benefit of this. You can actually take pictures and save them on your phone. I'm gonna click allow. And then it will ask you for your location services. That will be up to you whether you wanna do that. And usually when apps ask me this, I only allow it when I'm using the app. This will also ask you if you want to allow the microphone to be used. I believe you can take notes while you're videoing, things like that. Here's the typical jargon of all the acknowledgement junk. It'll then ask you if you want to save stuff to the cloud. It has its own cloud that allows you to sort pictures. It allows you to edit things, all kinds of stuff. You can check that out on your own time. I don't think that's worth going through in this video. Now we just need to log in or sign up. You can actually skip that step if you don't want to create an account, and you can actually use the camera without an account, which is pretty cool. Most things won't let you get away with that anymore. Then you just need to pick which camera you have. We have the FLIR ONE. Then it's just asking to connect the FLIR ONE to your phone. And it's worth mentioning too that FLIR does have some other apps. The tools and the Thermal Studio, it allows you to make reports, it'll allow you to edit videos, things like that. Those are things worth looking into if that kind of thing is going to work for what you're using this camera for. So to hook this up, you want to take your lens side and flip it this way because you want to be able to see the screen. You're just going to plug it into the USB port of your phone. Then you're going to want to power on. You want to make sure that that's green. It'll ask you if you want to open this every time the camera is connected. I am choosing yes. Sometimes this does take a little bit for this to turn on, and then you'll see this screen pop up. That is your thermal imaging. And one thing that I really like about this camera is that you can flip it in any direction, which is cool because the port on every phone basically is on the bottom. So you can flip this camera so it's upside, or you can flip your phone upside down and then the camera's on the top. So whatever you're trying to search for is not in the way. Your fingers aren't in the way of what's in the frame of your camera. Before we go any further, I want to show you just some of the options of what the camera will do. If you click this little arrow that's above the capture button, this will take a picture. If you click that arrow, you can switch or you can toggle in between photo and video. So far, I haven't used either for my use case, but I can definitely see why it would be handy for a video and just to be able to take individual photos of things. And then if you click this gallery button right there, that'll show you the gallery of the photos that you have. If you click this plus button, it's going to give you some more options. It will give you infrared image mode, MSX, DC. So the DC mode is just going to be a normal looking camera. It's not going to have your regular thermal imaging looking thing. It's still going to show you what you're focusing on. It's still going to show you temperatures, but it will be under a normal camera image. If you do this MSX, it's going to add the little lines for the outlines of whatever you're focusing on. You can see the outline of the microwave here. You can see the outline of the can opener and the oven and things like that. It really kind of helps you pinpoint if you're really trying to focus in on something. And then the IR is just the infrared, and it's just gonna focus on, it's a little bit blurry. It's my least favorite out of all those. I like the MSX, but the DC is actually really cool too, because for my purposes, you can see exactly what you're focusing in on. You can change the color palette of what shows up as hot and what shows up as cold. You can change the all of this stuff, so it's just different, you know, whatever your preference is. The iron setting is the default setting on here. That's what most people think of when they think of thermal imaging. My favorite option is if you click on this little pinpoint spectacle looking thing, you can actually toggle on the hot spot and cold spot. And that way when you're focusing on, like you can see the cold glass that has a cold drink in it, it's focusing on that. It's telling you the coldest thing that's in the frame of your camera right now. It's also focusing right next to it on the warmest part of the frame. And then this little button right here will show you the thermometer range on the side. You can just scroll that on or off. And then last thing I'm going to talk about on this app is this little pinwheel on the side. If you click that, it will actually do a calibration. It just kind of resets everything, calibrates the camera and the temperature. All right, well, I've shown you the functions on the app. Let's put this thing into a real world scenario and let's test to see if our freeze-dried food is all done. So if you're new to the channel, this is my freeze drying room. And if you're not new to the channel, then you've seen this many, many times. But since we do mainly freeze drying on this channel, this is our freeze dryer. It gets very, very cold. It also does very, very hot. It does a combination of the two, and it removes all of the moisture from food. So a thermal imaging camera in this scenario is very important because we can determine whether a tray of freeze dried food like this has any frozen spots in it, because for freeze drying, if it has frozen spots in it, it still has moisture in it, so it's not complete yet. And inside the chamber of the freeze dryer, there's ice on the walls after our cycle is complete. So if you look at this through thermal imaging, you can see the blue is where all the ice is at around the sides here. The red is where the heat pads would be. So this is working very well. It's showing us the temperature. We're showing below freezing temperatures. For the coldest spot, we're showing well over 100 in the hot spots. And here are our freeze drying products. This is what the freeze dryer does. I have some pasta salad, some rice, and some chili. And I'm gonna switch to DC mode so you can kind of see what's in the frame. It's showing the hottest spot of each of the trays. It's also showing the coldest spot on each of the trays. So then we can also zoom on individual trays and see if there are any cold spots. Pasta looks great. This rice looks great. But then we get over to the chili. There is a spot in the chili, and you can see on the thermal imaging the big blue spot. That is reading at 40 degrees. To me, that is not done because it's a cold spot. So I'm assuming there's some more moisture in there. Let's check out this other tray. You can see some cold spots in that as well. So that means for freeze drying at least that we need to add some more time. So that means for me, these are going back into the freeze dryer for just a while. And if you're not a freeze dryer and you're just checking out this FLIR ONE camera for other reasons, there are really just an unlimited amount of uses that you can use this FLIR ONE camera for. It works in any situation that you need to find the hot spot or a cold spot somewhere. It's great for finding inefficiencies in your home where cold air is coming in or hot air is coming in. I love the fact that this thing just slips right into your phone. It makes it so much less expensive. I'm trying to work with the company right now to get a promotional offer, just like I have with some of my other products, that will get my subscribers a discount. Stay tuned for that. For right now, you can check out my Amazon store. I have a link directly to this camera. I really hope you found the video helpful today. If you have any other questions that I didn't cover, feel free to contact me in the comments section below. If you like the video, make sure you give us a thumbs up, and I hope you find this really useful. I have definitely found it as my new favorite gadget for freeze drying. In the meantime, this is Retired at 40. Remember to live life simple. Catch you next week.